Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is even more delays to the two ferries that the SNP government have been trying to build for years now, right? Now, these ferries were meant to be ready within a matter of weeks. We're almost in July. It's the 29th of June that I'm making this video. And these ferries, after a delay, promised date, getting put back, we are supposed to be getting them delivered within a matter of weeks. Okay. Now in the run up, now in this video, I'm going to talk about some documents that are publicly available. They're already out in the ether, and I'm going to give you some insight from information that I have from inside the yard. Okay. So just to give a sort of running commentary of what's going on without going through the whole story of the ferries, because I'm trying to do it in 10 minutes and not 10 weeks. But in the last few weeks, the Kate Forbes has been challenged in Parliament about the delivery of it, and she's been adamant that the new deadline will not be broken, and we'll get the ferries, and we'll get these ferries in service for the summer, right? That was her words, no mine. No making it up. It's there on ScotGov website. Go and listen to every single meeting that's ever had by the Scottish Parliament, and you'll hear her, right? So she's been adamant that there will be no more delays, and these ferries will be in service for the summer season. Okay? It's the 29th of June. The ferries were meant to be getting delivered within weeks. So, Parliament shuts. We're now in summer recess. And then Friday, once the Parliament's closed, a letter suddenly arrives at the Scottish Government from Ferguson Marine, telling you, guess what? More delays, right? So, let me just read out the letter. I'll put a copy of it up on my screen if I can figure out how to do it. So the letter is from Ferguson Marine and to Edward Mountain, the convener of the Net Zero Energy Transport Committee in Scottish Parliament. Dear Mr Mountain, I write to update you on the current progress for both vessels, namely the Glen Sannox and the Glen Rossa. Glen Sannox, this is the one that's meant to be coming. The other one will just happen whenever, right? We've not really looked at that yet, because we've ordered two, right? The LNG system, that's the posh energy system that it's used because diesel's a bad thing, right? So it's a dual fuel engine that's meant to go in this, and that's why it's going to be, the best ferry in the world, because it'll be super green. When the reality is, you can't use the LNG part of the fuel system when you're close to the shore, and you can't use it when you get close to the other end, because it's illegal, right? So you can't use it. You can only use it for part of the journey, but we're told it's a super green ferry, and it runs in diesel the vast majority of the time, right? And this is part of the reason, and I'll cover that once I'm finished reading the letter out, the issues that's causing delay after delay. So the LNG system has been well documented as the biggest challenge we face since our last report. It has proved even more difficult and has impacted the progress in other areas, namely the engine compartments. That's the area that it's housed, right? Because until the engine's fixed and you brought everything in and out that you want, you can't really finish the actual compartment itself. We still have a small portion to complete in the commissioning, but this has been moved to an alternative shift so as not to further interfere with other critical activities, right? So they're moving about the people that are working in the boat, and I'll come to the people that are working in the boat later in the video, right? This has resulted in a movement of the schedule, causing a slight delay, with delivery now being week commencing 19th of August 2024. Now, once they take delivery, they'll still need to do other things before it can actually go into service the communities that it's been waiting, 5-6 years to service. Those people that have been, this ferry service is really affecting their life. So, Fergusons are now saying, we'll give you the boat on the 19th of August. That's not saying the boat will be in service on the 19th of August, because they'll not just take them off it, stick some passengers on it, and straight away start taking cars across the waters. That's not how this thing works. We are working with CalMac and CMAL, that's a company that buy the boats for CalMac, at the highest level to ensure there will be no further delays. Kind of can't take that for gospel, can we? regarding, this is good, right? This is a great bit, because, and this next paragraph isn't about the total cost, it's just about these current costs. Regarding the final cost to go, we have reviewed the status, and even with the revised delivery date, we remain confident, not sure, they just remain confident, within the range of the previous forecast, namely 145 to 149 million. They don't even know how much it's going to cost. And they're not even certain and guaranteeing that will come within those costs. They're just saying that we remain confident. But they've remained confident probably for day one when they were meant to cost us 97 million, and we're currently already at 500 million, right? And 5 years late. Now this bit's interesting because it says challenges to completion of the final portion of LNG testing. And I'll come to the LNG testing in a minute, right? Completion of steam cleaning and painting of engine spaces. This has now commenced. Now I don't know how you can start steam cleaning and painting the engine spaces when you've not got the engines running yet. That seems a bit illogical to me. Compartment sign-off, that's the actual thing, the part of the boat that holds engines. Commissioning and piping system sign-off. Inclining trials and acceptance trials. So they've got all this work to do before the 19th of August? Yeah, the due date of the 19th of August. Now, the most horrific part of this bit of the story, before I come on to the second thing I want to discuss, is this letter was sent on Friday. Kate Forbes has been getting asked weekly almost to update on this, and she has been telling us all these things. You know, they're working close with Ferguson Marine, and they guarantee that these new deadlines will not be broke. Now, if they wrote this letter on the 28th of June, I don't think they just realised the 28th of June that these delays were going to happen. That's not how things work, right? And if she's been in constant contact with them, when did Ferguson Marine realise there was going to be further delays? And when did the Scottish Government? Now, I know this letter is dated the 28th of June, but we keep getting told that, you know, they're working closely, and they use posh words like with the stakeholders and all that bollocks, right? So if the Scottish Government has been working closely with stakeholders like the people building the boat, you would kind of think that they would know before the letter gets sent that there's going to be delays. So what that suggests to me is Kate Forbes has been lying to other members of Scottish Parliament when they've been asking her some very important questions about this. Now, if she didn't know there was delays coming, and let's just say that's factual and accept that for a minute, but she's still telling us that they're in constant contact with the stakeholders that are building the boat, how would you know them? It's just more shite, more bluster, more buzzwords from this inept Scottish Government ran by our friends at the Scottish National Parliament. Honestly, they actually beggar belief. Now, that's the letter and the stuff about that. Now let me tell you some things that I'm getting from information from inside the actual yard itself. One of the biggest problems they've got is getting parts and spare parts for this LNG bit of the engine that's total bollocks that you don't need in the first place because it will hardly ever get used, right? That's what's caused the biggest delay in this. So in the desire to be cuddly green, which was just a pure fallacy, because reality is you'll use the diesel engines far more than you'll use the LNG engines, because of this desire to try and be nice and cuddly about how the engines work on this ferry, it's caused all these delays. And no doubt the 5 times the original plan for the budget for the whole project has been caused by this desire to lie to the Scottish public and have us believe we've got this nice green ferry that actually just runs in diesel. Because I've already done videos about how impractical it is actually getting the LNG to the site. So these boats will not run in LNG. They'll have the option of running in LNG, but the chances of using it, because of the restrictions to where you can use it, and also the restrictions in how you actually get LNG onto the boat in the first place, because there's no port in Scotland as a facility to store LNG. So to get it onto the boat, you'll need to meet the tanker at the port to fill it up from the tanker, Because the tanker can't just go up, fill a big storage area somewhere in a Scottish port, and then the boat can go up and fill itself up. Impossible. There are no such ports in Scotland that can contain LNG. It's a complete fallacy. And the truth is, right up to now, we're almost, we're nearly there, right? I'm quite happy to accept it. And the journey it's taken to build these boats, we are in the final stages here, right? But they can't get the parts needed for this system because nobody uses this system because it's bollocks, right? And the other problem we've got is there's a lot of welding required in a boat, and that they cannot get certified welders and other skilled tradesmen that are needed to complete the work. So what they have done, they have filled the place with labourers to try and help the skilled workers that they do have, to help them so they can just be sitting there doing what they're, take a welder for example, and just be sitting welding for as much of his shift as possible, rather than going and picking up welding rods or going over here or doing whatever they need doing, right? So they've hired like labourers basically, for want of a better word, to help these people. Problem we've got there is they don't talk English. So they've had to hire interpreters to help the tradesmen talk to the labourers to then go and get their whatever work they want the labourer to do while they crack on and do their skilled part of the job. Because you can't employ 1-to-1 ratio for either give each tradesman an interpreter or give every labourer interpreter. That ain't working. So the guy will be standing looking at the guy going, I need welding rods, and the guy's looking at him as if, what? Go and get me some welding rods. No idea. So they need to wait for the interpreter, who could be at the other side of the boat or the other side of the yard, interpreting for somebody else. That's what's going on in this clusterfuck of a project from a nation that used to be really proud nation at building boats. That's where we are. That's what you get when the SNP manage a project. So, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. But most important of all, unless you're SNP, the clowns running this project for Marine, or any of the cult that still believe they're shite. Everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.